Are you a whiskey expert or one of those whiskey snobs or just someone curious about the whiskey world? Well, stay tuned because I've got an event for you. Well, welcome back to the series Living Local, where we feature businesses, events, and everything else in the 4017 area. And we're going to kick it off with an event that I actually run at the Sandgate Post Office Hotel called Whisky Social. So a lot of people might already know that I'm a huge whiskey man. I love everything whiskey, the history about it. I geek out about it. I love doing and presenting everything about whiskey. Now, this all started after COVID. Now, COVID was obviously horrible for a lot of people. And what I did is I joined a little club called Whisky Loot, where every month I would get a little tasting pack about whiskey and all the information and history around it and tasting notes. And in that time, I had a lot of time to kind of research, and I kind of started nerding out about what whiskey was and kind of the history of it and how it's produced and everything like that. Once COVID regulations lifted, we were able to get our friends around. I started collecting other bottles that I had never thought of. I then started teaching some friends of mine and going through the history and doing all of that. My partner, Alinta, actually saw how much joy I got out of it. And from there, she said, all right, I think it's time to do some events. So we started this just over 3 years ago. It was a fantastic break away from COVID, but it was also, for me now, being in real estate, it's actually a really good area for me to get away from just talking about real estate and talking, as I said, geeking out and talking about whiskey. So the history of Whisky Social started, as I said, just over 3 years ago. We actually first started at Mr. Henderson's. Thank you guys so much for that space. We were just over there for just over a year. And my first event, I was worried that we weren't going to be able to fill the 25 spots, but in 3 days, they were all gone. Now, we actually had to move from Mr. Henderson's after that year because our events, I was having to run 2 of them a month because we were selling up to 50 tickets. Now, we didn't want to do that. I didn't want to run 2 events, so we moved to Blue Nose Betty to the backyard part. So pretty much if you saw a big group of people for just over a year out back at Blue Nose Betty, that was us on the third Thursday. Sandgate Post Office Hotel opened up and offered us this room, which in an hour, you'll see very shortly, will be completely transformed with a bunch of regulars that absolutely love whiskey and everything we do. So let me show you the event tonight. So we're all set up and we're pretty much ready to go and open up the doors. It is 5 minutes to, everyone is downstairs, but I wanted to give you a bit of an idea of some of the events that we've done in the past. So we do the standard whiskey tasting where we're just doing 5 to 6 different pairings and we're nosing and we're talking about the history of everything, but we also do food events where we've paired with places like Basic Chocolates, who actually individually makes chocolates that pairs with the actual whiskey themselves. Tonight we've got Dan from Highwaymen. He's come up from Byron Bay. He's a small batch whiskey maker who makes basically mostly cask strengths. I don't think there's anything not cask strength. We're going through some amazing releases, and one bottle that was just poured into or from the casks, we are the first people to try it. So there's many different things that we do. We've had $3,500 bottles, and we've even tried Japanese whiskey, but we've tried the rice whiskies with it and Vietnamese and Lao whiskey. So we try and do some really cool things, and we try and push the boundaries as well with what we're tasting. So if you'd like to join us at Whisky Social, all you've got to do is join the Facebook group. It is Whisky Social. I'll put the link in the video description for you. Now, for anybody that would like to try out, we're going to give 2 tickets away. All you've got to do is tag the person you want to take to Whisky Social, and we'll draw it in a week's time. Now, if you have an event, you run a business, or you've got anything you want to share to the 4017 community, then please reach out, because we want to be doing these videos every single week. Until next week, have a great day.